Hello again, everybody. It's Plowboy's Ghost Channel, and I want to touch base with y'all on what I consider kind of new information, a little more new revelations in the Alec Baldwin set of the movie Rust shooting that took place over New Mexico. Yesterday I saw that there was some new video footage released. There was probably what has been seen more is probably going to be the interview with Alec Baldwin. All I really gleaned from that is that Alec Baldwin really doesn't know very much about firearms. He doesn't know, you can tell by the misuse of terminology how familiar someone is with guns, and he's not very. Even though he might be a veteran, when it comes to filmmaking, and he might have used a whole lot of guns on film set, he really don't know much about guns. Big surprise. What I did notice more than anything was that there was another video released. I don't know if it came out the same day, but I just happened to find it yesterday for the first time. And this was actual rehearsal or setting up the scene or whatever footage the day of the shooting, right before the shooting. What that showed me, or what I saw in that, and I watched very closely, there's no sound associated with the video that I saw, and if I can, I will find a way to rip that off of YouTube from another video and put it in this. If not, I'll try to find a link to one that's similar or whatever, and y'all can go look at it for yourselves. But now what I'm watching in this is when Alec Baldwin is sitting here in this church, got his head down, whatever, got his hand on the gun. It shows him draw it twice. Now, not all of the videos, not all of the places I've seen this video posted is the whole video or shows as much. Most of them that I've seen stop when he does the first draw and cocking and put it back up and go back to resetting for the scene or whatever. What I noticed from that, watching that in slow motion down to a quarter speed, was that both times he drew, of course, about the only way, with a hammer down, you're okay. On a single action revolver, he's drawing with his finger in a trigger guard. Okay, I do it too. I do it every time. I'm going to do it every time, but I never draw with a hammer cock, so it's not going off. No problem with that. But what I gleaned from that, remember Alex says that he did not pull the trigger. That is my problem with what his statement way back when. And I understand the man's emotional over it. There's a whole lot of pressure on him. I get it. I'm not a fan of Alec Baldwin, but I want justice and I want fairness, even for people I don't like, because it's just a matter of principle. So I don't want to be unfair to him, but I'm not going to kiss his ass either just because he's a rich man or because he's a famous man. Like I said, personally, I don't care for him at all. But for the sake of intellectual honesty and fairness, I think, based on, I'll try to, like I said, I'll try to give you a link to this if I can't rip it and put it in here and show it over my speaking here, is that when he was drawing, now I don't know how the camera angle that we see correlates with left and right. I don't know if it's reversed. I don't know if it's mirrored. You know what I mean? I don't know for sure. So I don't really know which way he was pulling it. I didn't get to look at it very good for very long. But there was both times that at least I know the second time he really did this. This gun is empty, by the way. It's safety checked. I'm not Baldwin. I'm gonna do a Baldwin on y'all. Safety checked multiple times. But when he draws the gun and he comes up and he cocks it, he pulls off to one side just a little bit. I can't tell which way it is by the time it comes back. And if you look at his finger, you can tell that he's pinching his grip between here and here. He's pinching his grip. That is enough to pull. Say, I just released the trigger. That is enough right there, releasing it. That is enough to pull the trigger on that gun. If my thumb wasn't on the hammer, it would have fired. Okay, now, did he pull the trigger? This scene, this video I'm talking about, was immediately before the accidental shooting. And yes, when he drew the gun, at some point it's cocked, and I believe it was cocked just as he got it up here, and as he's doing his grip like this, he's squeezing that finger just enough. You can look at this and watch between here and here. You can see by the time the hammer comes back that he's got enough tension on that right there to have dropped that hammer. I believe with all my heart, Alec Baldwin, and look, I'm sorry, I know it's a horrible thing for this to have happened. Hoss, you pulled the trigger. Sorry about that. Hoss, you pulled the trigger. I know you probably didn't mean to. And I believe you that you thought the gun was cold. I can't swear to that everybody told you everything that you needed to know at that point to be 100% certain. And I can't say that you are completely absolved of any responsibility. I think, personally, from what I see, that you pulled the trigger, you squeezed that grip, just as you did moments before in a practice take, in another practice take or whatever. I believe you squeezed that trigger. For that portion, you should own responsibility if that's what is determined through the forensic evidence or from the examination of the video. I'm no forensic video examiner, but I see it. I'm familiar with these guns. I tote these guns every daggum day. And I've not shot myself or anyone else. Of course, I don't point it at anyone else. And I am very well aware of the condition, the loaded condition or the unloaded condition of these firearms at all times. From what I see and what I've heard on this video and these other videos, not this particular video, but other videos that came out yesterday and then other things that I've seen, I want to be fair to Alec. Hoss, I do believe you pulled the trigger with all my heart. But I don't believe that you thought for 1 second that there was a live round in that gun. And I don't believe there would have been a live round in that gun if, you know, if you'd have had the absolute say over it. My fault with you, Alec, is that you don't take personal responsibility for being the man holding the gun and then saying you didn't pull the trigger, acting like the gun's malfunctioning. I believe you squeezed that trigger. I don't believe the gun was malfunctioning. I believe you just don't know enough about what you're doing with it. And it is easy to do. While I'm demonstrating this to you, I inadvertently squeezed just enough. I mean, there's just a small amount of pressure that it takes to break that sear. I get that. To me, the bigger question on the set of the movie Rust and this shooting and that led to this death of this lady and the injury to this man was, why was there a live round in the gun? And if there's no live round supposed to be on set, why was there obviously live rounds on set? Well, I've saw other videos referring to where that responsibility lies. I don't believe that Alec Baldwin should be charged with murder or manslaughter. There was some amount of negligence involved. I don't believe Alec meant to hurt anybody. But it sure doesn't help in a time like this, Alec. It sure does not help you at all when you need understanding and sympathy and the fair-minded people to look at you without, you know, without preconceived notions of you, without prejudice. It doesn't help that you've been a hard person to like, politically and in some of the things you've done and in the ways you behaved in public. And I know if being in the public eye and being famous and getting all of that attention is just too hard for you and it's just too rough and it makes you a bad person, and maybe you should have chosen another career. But yeah, I believe Alec inadvertently squeezed the trigger. I believe it was all in his grip, just as he cocked that and as he pulled the gun off to the side, whichever side it was. I can't remember, y'all, and like I said, I don't know if it's a mirror or an exact replication of which side he's actually pointing to when you're looking at it on camera, but I believe you squeezed it just enough to break the sear. Take ownership of that, and I'll respect you for it. You know, look, you didn't mean to shoot somebody. You didn't mean to shoot two people. I know you didn't mean to kill nobody. Take ownership of it. Be a humble man, and at least we can and be respectable in that. That's just what I think. That's being fair. And let's find out who's responsible for the live round being on set and in that firearm. I don't expect Alec to get up with me and talk to me about this, but I am trying to be as fair-minded as I can about it. Talk to y'all later.